Hello everyone and welcome to Faces of Delfin. Today we are gonna have a very special guest, that is Liên Hà. So Liên Hà is from critical reading and writing age and she has been with us for a very long time.
That is true.
How old were you when you were first here, Liên Hà?
I believe I was first in Delfin in 5th grade.
Oh, 5th grade, right? And she's in 9th grade this year.
Yes.
Alright. So Liên Hà, would you want to say something to our audience to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Liên Hà. I'm reaching 9th grade now. It's my first year of high school. I've been with Delfin for an extremely long time, I believe. 4 years is a very long time. And yeah, throughout the time I've been here, I've always been happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How have you seen yourself change like during the past 4 years?
During the past 4 years, I believe I have gone from being extremely timid. In 5th grade, I could barely talk to people who I don't know yet, but now in 9th grade, I am a lot more open, I believe, and I am more free and capable in sharing my thoughts and opinions.
I have seen that change very clearly as well. I still remember the first day that Liên Hà was here and she was so small because you were going to a class with like students who were older than you. That time you were taking a contest, like a kind of speaking contest where you had to talk about women's rights or like equality for women, and
it was electrifying almost. My mom told me to enter the competition and I just thought it would be so much fun, but then I really did not expect to actually make it to the final rounds. And when people tell me that I was going to be live on television, I was scared. I was terrified that I would walk in the wrong way, I would speak the wrong things. But then I think it turned out quite well, so that competition alone was quite a confident boost.
Yeah, okay. So I am very lucky to have been with Liên Hà for a long time and I have seen the change. Like I remember how you wrote at that time, like with a tiny paragraph, and now you are able to write like a long essays and doing research and everything, right? So it's amazing. So how does it feel to be a freshman at the like high school now? A high school student, yeah.
Yes, oh my. Well, the first thing that really hit me was that the workload is so much higher. We were told that we would be given standardized tests, which was not so common practice in middle school. But in general, my friends were the same. I did not switch schools, so it was actually a very easy transition for me from middle school to high school, except for the workload, of course. I struggled with deadlines.
Do you set new expectations for yourselves?
I do, because it is high school now and I should be thinking, at least people tell me I should be thinking about, future college applications. So I put higher, better standards for my grades and also a lot more expectations for myself in terms of extracurricular activities and competitions that I participate in.
So are you ready to talk about today's topic?
Yes.
Which is leadership, right?
Yes.
Okay. So we have been learning a little bit about leadership, and leadership is something like everybody is saying like kids today need to acquire some leadership skills for their future. But what is it? Like to you, how would you define leadership?
I believe leadership is the ability to manage other people under a common goal. To be a great leader, you need to be able to not only unite others, but you need to also be able to listen to their opinions, to convince them of certain agendas, and to set paths and set goals for a certain group in order to reach a common goal.
Okay, so it is a lot of ability. Do you see that it is a talent as well?
Some people, I believe, are quite born with the confidence, but I believe great leadership is not only something you are born with, but something that can be honed throughout the years, something I've experienced myself.
Really? Share more about our experience.
Well, I remember in 5th grade, I was not a leader at all. I would always refuse the leadership role in groups because I was scared I wouldn't be able to not only talk to my fellow teammates, but also not able to manage my own deadlines. However, throughout the years, I've proved to myself, I think, my own talents, but So I just had to find it more free now to talk to others, and I don't avoid leadership roles that much anymore.
So you used to avoid leadership roles. Is
True.
there a reason for it?
I believe the reason was just one, I was not confident in my own abilities, and two, I believe that others could do it much better than me, because in 5th grade my classmates were already excellent classmates. They were all very confident, capable human beings, but and then there was me. So I didn't think I could do it because my talents were not as outstanding as theirs. But then I just sort of learned that a leader is not someone who has to be overly talented, is not somebody who has to be better than the rest of the group, just somebody who can utilize everyone's talents and put it for a common goal.
And at least to be there, right?
Yeah.
And to be ready to take on the responsibility. So do you consider yourself like as a passionate leader, or what style of leadership do you think you have? Or want to develop into that direction?
Well, I believe I want to be a leader who I want to be a more of an active leader. I want to be able to change myself all the time based on the group that I am, leading. So what I mean by this is that I don't want to be someone who just takes my agendas and goals and just put it onto other people. You have to follow this all the time. I want to be someone who can, listen to people, who can listen to their own troubles and talents, and I want to be able to change my goals accordingly to that.
So quite flexible,
Yes.
and someone who can listen and then take on the ideas.
Yes.
Okay, I see. So is there a role model that you look to, like for the leadership?
Well, I have a lot of role models. For instance, I have you.
You see me as a leader?
Yes.
How?
You managed to lead a class of like 10 something more people, very chaotic teenagers, without there being a single conflict. At least I don't think I noticed any.
Oh, okay, I see. That's very interesting that you bring it up, because when we think about leaders, we think of politicians, we think about presidents, we think about like CEOs of different companies, but you see leadership in a teacher. So how do you define the leadership for each of the individual? Can we have leadership skills even though we don't like hold those like top positions?
I do believe that we can hold leadership roles without having, top positions, because like not only can you be a leader as in CEOs, executives, but you can also be a leader as just in somebody who's planning a picnic trip for your family. Because for me, leadership is a very broad umbrella term in which you just have to be someone who can set agendas for a group of people, and that is just basically what leadership is. So I believe it can be applied in a broad range of activities. Like you just need a group of people who you are leading.
Okay. So I'm pushing it a little bit more here.
Yes.
Do you really need followers to be a leader, or can you be just a leader of yourself?
I believe you actually need followers to be a leader, because like to be a leader means you have the capability to convince others, not only yourself, right? Because it is quite easy to convince oneself of following one's own agendas, because that is something that you set for yourself. It's something that is going to benefit you and yourself only. But instead now if we have a group of people, then leadership is being able to convince them also that their goals and agendas also aligns with yours. I believe that is a crucial part of leadership, the ability to convince others too. So yes, I don't think you can be a leader of yourself only, but you need to actually have other people to lead.
Okay, I see. So like when you are planning your own life, it's more like about self-management skills rather than like leadership to you?
Yes.
Okay, I see. So I know that you are a debater. Like you like debating a lot.
Yes.
Yes.
I wouldn't consider myself great just yet, but
Yeah, but you like it, right? And so as a debater, you always need to be like a part of a team, right? And so in debating teams, do you think you need a lot of leadership skills, and how is it manifested in in debate activities?
It is very interesting, the role of leadership in debate, because I believe in debate it is a lot more flexible than in other situations, right? It is quite interesting because I am not the captain of our debate team. It is rather my friend. However, I believe in debate, in debate in general, debate is a subject where you have to put forward a lot of ideas and you have to be able to accept ideas, right? So normally it often arises that there is a conflict. Some people want to develop a case like this, but some people want to develop a case like that. So that is when a leader has to come in and try to do everything they can in order to, like, one, just avoid conflict in the preparation time in general, and two, just to make sure that when if people go into the debate room, they are going to say a consistent case, right? They have to be the one to accept the ideas from all the members in the group and just to merge it and sometimes even outright refuse an idea. So yes, it is a very flexible and it requires a lot of persuading to be a leader in debates.
Okay, I see. So suppose that you are a team member, right? And then the captain of the team just outright refuse an idea that you propose. How would you feel?
I believe I would feel a tiny bit hurt. Obviously, my idea just got rejected. But if I can see the reason as to why the debate leader is saying that I should not say that, because it is either inconsistent with a team case or it is going to have some backlashes. Well, if I can see the reason in that, then I would most likely just scrap that and go with what the leader is saying.
Because I think some people misunderstand that debating is about winning.
It is about winning over your opponents, but if you win over your teammates, that is not a victory.
Okay, I see. So in competition, you need cooperation as well. All right, that is good. So you have been mentioning like the ability to persuade people, to convince people to believe something. And I think there is some danger in that as well. Like because depending on what you are persuading people to believe in, it may have consequences. And so to you, what may be a distinction between like persuasion and manipulation?
So I believe the big difference between persuasion and manipulation is actually a thin fine line, but it is there. I believe a person who persuades is someone who is more open at first in their purpose of persuading, and two, is also open in receiving other opinions. Right? So a person who persuades, I believe, is someone who is who is looking to share their opinions, to share, not to enforce their own opinions on somebody else. And when they receive an opinion that is, either clashing with theirs, they are generally more open to debate or to argue on that opposing opinion in order to just prove that they are right. But in case that somebody cannot prove that they are right, then the persuader is most likely to just, leave it, walk away, because their goal is just to, share their opinions. But I believe that a manipulator is somebody who is seeking to prove that they are right, and the other person needs to be like them no matter what. So their purpose is to enforce, not to share. And when they receive opposing opinions, of course they will also argue, but sometimes it's not just arguing with words. They will have to stay there and just continue manipulating until the other person agrees that they are right.
I remember you wrote a very great essay on Squealer, a character in the Animal Farm, right? Yes. So how do you see that character as a manipulator? Can you express the ideas on that a little bit?
So I think Squealer was someone who will enforce, who can just step on to the old things to just create new things out of the blue. Right? For instance, there is a rule, I remember distinctly the rule that you shall not drink. But then he is willing to step onto that rule and create a new one, you shall not drink, to excess. So when somebody does something like that, they are not trying to reason, they are not trying to share their reasons as to why it should be to excess, just not to drink. So that is not the mindset of a persuader, but rather that is a mindset of someone who's trying to enforce an opinions onto other. So yes, I see Squealer as a manipulator. And second, when Squealer receives opposing opinions, he just downright refuses it. He just says, nope, it was never there. And he goes on to outright shame the person who is saying opposing opinions as you are not being a good comrade. So that is also not the mindset of a persuader. They are not willing to receive opposing opinions.
Okay, so we can see there is a change in that novel that we kind of read, like from like a group of leaders who really want like something good for the whole community to like a group of leaders who only want good for themselves, right? As someone who think that leadership is important, so how can we avoid going sideways from our course and turn into a manipulator without being aware of that?
Okay, that is really a challenging question, but I love it. So, so I believe that, I think this was the real idea for whoever thought of democracy. So it is actually quite easy to stray from the original I want good for everybody course into the I want good for myself course, because like when you lead, then you just need to have an agenda at first, which is most likely based on your own agenda, just tweaked a little bit to appease the general public. But when something like this happens, I believe that you need a range of other people to who can balance out your own powers. It avoids this dictatorship situation in which I think Animal Farm ended in. At first, the world was ideal when there was both Napoleon and Snowball, and maybe Old Major did not live to see that. But yes, the world was idyllic when there was two people who could balance each other out. But when Snowball was butted out, then Napoleon just became this dictatorship figure, and so that was when everything started to go wrong.
So this one is like a quiz to find out what kind of animal leader you are.
Wow.
And we know, I think we discussed this in class, like whether or not to believe in quizzes or not.
Yes.
And I think what did you say? Like there is some certain truth out of it, even though it can be for fun, right? Alright, so you got the wolf. The answers have led to the conclusion that you are one of the most courageous leaders in the animal kingdom. You have strong convictions about what it is that you want as a leader, and you always stand up for what you believe in, even if others are unhappy about it. You are one of the few leaders who will always speak the truth. Do you think that this speaks about you? Is it true?
Wow, I mean, it is a very strong, solid image that I want to be, but I don't think I am there just yet. So yeah, I mean, sometimes I stand up for what I believe in, but if others are unhappy about it, sometimes I back down too.
Really? They are unhappy but they are wrong, then you still back down?
Oh no, then I don't.
Oh, so you mean like you know that they are not right, but they are unhappy about it, then you still back down? Okay. Some people always like stand by the truth, and some people will be more caring towards like other people's own emotions.
I mean, I do believe that if it doesn't have detrimental consequences, they can keep what they think.
Yeah. Okay. So it depends on what it is, right? You say that you ran for the student council in the school, right?
I did.
Yeah, tell us more about that experience. Like, what did you have to prepare in order to run for student council, and how did you persuade other people to vote for you? Because you succeeded, right? Yeah, a speech. Yeah. So tell us more about that experience.
At first, it was quite scary because when I learned that to be a representative for our class at least, then you have to have the majority vote of everybody in your advisory. So I was scared. I was not the popular one. I do not have the popular vote. So I actually believe that people would just vote for anyone they know best, and that is obviously not me, because I see myself as a bit reserved at school, only to a few of my friends. So, like, people know about me, but I don't see myself as outstanding. So it was actually quite scary. So a few weeks before the speech actually happened, I started going around just to, ask people, hey, if I ran, would you vote for me? What would you want then if I actually succeeded? Then what would you want me to do, basically? So I went around and asked a lot of people like that. And then I contacted a few of people, in my upper grade, to say that, hey, if I got representative and then I wanted to run for vice, would you support me, and etc. So yeah, afterwards, when the speech actually came, I was so nervous. I was stuttering in the first of my few sentences. But then when I finished talking, I went down, and I honestly did not expect to win, but then I did. Yeah.
So what was the key message in your speech that people vote for you?
I think the key message in my speech was not only that I vowed to listen. Everybody said they would vow to listen, but I think the main thing in my speech was that I said that I would advocate for more community events, and I would get positions in the managing team for most of them, so that they could, actually participate in the events for once.
Okay, I see. You kind of doing some lobbying, was it? Do you consider it like lobbying?
I mean, if it counts as lobbying, I did. One of the people I contacted in my upper grades actually got advisory representative for their class. So I mean, we're confident maybe we can collaborate in the next campaign.
Okay, I see. But it's gonna consume a huge chunk of the time, right? Have you thought about it?
It is. I mean, the thing about my grade is that people are very busy in my grade. Something I've just managed to learn was that you need free time to be a leader, to be someone, in a position of responsibility, and free time is what I have.
Really? You don't have time?
How
do you manage to have time? Like, everybody complains that they're busy. So how do you manage to have free time?
I think I have free time just because, I don't take that many classes. I don't do that many things, so I don't get a lot of work. I don't study beforehand for my grade before actually going into the grade. And maybe that's a practice I need to adopt. But right now, I think, my schoolwork is actually pretty light too. So yeah, I do have the free time to actually do that. And I don't have so much responsibilities consuming me that I can't take more on.
Okay, I see. So you say before that, like, managing yourself is not leadership skill, but I do think that it is part of leadership skills as well, because like learning to manage all of those tasks so that you still have time for things that you want to pursue, it requires a lot of determination, a lot of discipline as well, and I think that is something needed to become a leader too. Would you encourage like other students to participate in community activities or like leadership positions like you have been doing?
I mean, I'd say yes. It's not like participating and campaigning. It is actually fun in a sense because you get to know a lot of other grades, you get to know a lot of other people, and it's like if you fail, if people, not enough people vote for you, at least you have actually stood up there, at least you have actually talked. So yeah, it's something that comes with a lot of rewards, but the risks don't really come unless you actually get the position. Then the risk really comes.
Okay, I see. Yeah, because it comes with responsibility, accountability as well, right? In the opinion, what are the 3 jobs that require like leadership skills the most?
Top one is pretty obvious, being a teacher or a lecturer. Any occupation that requires you to teach to a bunch of people who are less experienced than you. I believe this job requires leadership skills because, well, not only do you have to restore calm and order in a class, but then you also have to be able to actually listen to the students or the people who are listening to you anyways to be a great teacher. So I think it exemplifies all the qualities that is needed in leadership. The next one is obviously as an executive or a manager. So yeah, this is a position that requires you to set agendas that is based on your company's or your own agendas. So yeah, it is setting agendas is something I believe to be very important in leadership. So yes. The third one, I think the third one is, I think it's actually that one person who is working at like research institution. Because like being a researcher, sometimes if you want to accomplish really huge researches that actually covers like 50,000 something people, then you can't do it by yourself. You can't go take a piece of paper and go ask everybody, all 50,000 to fill it out. You actually need help from other people. And so when you acquire these helps, you have to be able to like organize them. Like this person goes to this area, the other goes to that area, and then you have to be able to compile all of their results into one report.
Leadership is everywhere and at different level, right? And leadership skills is actually beneficial for everyone if they want to do their job very well. So we have been talking a lot about different qualities or different skills or different abilities of a leader. So if you have to compact it into a list of only 3, what would be the top 3 most important quality of a leader?
I think the first quality of being a great leader is that you need to be able to persuade, right? Because that is the first step in actually being close to being a leader, is that you need somebody who actually will follow your agendas, right? Yeah, you have to convince people that your agendas is amazing. You have to be able to convince yourself that, you know, this is so much worth it, and you have to convince people who are against you. You have to convince also people who you are trying to propose your ideas to. And then I think the second important quality of being a leader is that you have to get this determination. You have to be able to, setting a goal is easy, at least I think. But then to actually follow through with the goal and be able to solve problems throughout on the way of achieving a goal, especially if you have a large group. If you only have one person, then the amount of problems is just very small. But if you have a lot of people, then it just multiplies and it just increases with as many workers as you get. So I think, the ability to actually follow through and to solve problems on the way is something that leaders also need to have. And the third, I think, is the ability to like allocate tasks. So we can't have an organization where everybody doesn't know what they're doing. Everybody does the same thing as each other, right? We need to be able to look at people and go, I know this person is going to be great in doing this task, and so I give this to them. So I think that is the whole point of dividing a company into like different compartments, different sections, different departments.
So in short, it's gonna be what?
It's gonna be persuasion first, and then it's gonna be, what do you call it, grits?
Determination. Yeah.
Yes, and the third is management.
Okay, I see. That is a great list. Okay, so final question. So when we think about leader or leadership, we think of someone who's at the front, right, leading the way. So can a leader be a follower as well?
Yes, because like I've said earlier, a leader does not necessarily have to be at the top of everything. A leader can also be, as in like a company, you have a CEO, a huge executive, but then that company can be also like a sub-branch of a smaller company. And then in that company, under the executive, you will have team managers, you will have department managers. So a leader can also be a member themselves.
Okay, I see, right? So we need to learn to lead, but also learn to follow at the same time.
I mean, aren't all great leaders followers at first?
That's a great one. Okay, I think that brings us to a good end to the conversation today. I have been really enjoy it, right? Really enjoying talking about leadership with you. I think you have all the potential to become a leader now and in the future as well, right? Yes, and I wish you all the luck, all the best luck.
Thank
you
you
so much. Liên Hà.
Oh my god.